Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about art tips, especially these ones, that are going to be distributed whether you are a beginner, intermediate or expert. So, without further ado, let's get straight to it. When you're struggling to actually draw something, the anatomy, and you get bombarded by these reference images, whether like how tall is the anime character, the difference between realistic and anime, and perspective. But for now, we're gonna just learn some tips that are actually simple and easy to use. The following tips are just 2 tips you can usually do while actually working. The first one is grabbing the lasso tool and measuring the length of the face. And if it is half of the body, that means the chest and the pelvis, then you are doing it right. The second one is just taking with the lasso tool the eye of the character and putting it between the neck and the actual shoulder. If the eye is smaller than the distance, then you are doing it right. If it doesn't fit, then you need to do some adjustments. By the way, these tips don't work on realistic. Please don't kill me. Anyway, next one. When you want to usually draw something or any artwork, you usually come up with a sketch or, the anatomy phase. This is why most artists desire to have a brush with no pen pressure. And this actually adapts to anything, even if it is unrealistic, realistic, and anime. Anyway, next one. For this one, you need to actually select and convert every layer to brightness, so you get a grayscale mode. Wait.
2,000 years later.
Once you've changed all of the layers, you get this one. And after observing your artwork, you can see some spots actually blend in with the background. So let's actually fix that. So what you need to do is obviously just zoom in on the spots where the character and the actual background is blended with. All you need to do to fix that is to change the opacity of the background or the character. With that being done, this actually improved your artwork so much better, and it actually made the character pop out even more and not the background. And for the hue part, for more creativity, you can just hit Ctrl T and just change the layers and the colors however you like, hue, saturation and luminosity. And well, you can get some results like this. Wait, this looks familiar. You saw nothing. Anyway, next one. Usually when you start drawing and love the hobby, you usually tend to draw the character by itself. But what you don't know is the character that you will be drawing will look like this. This is why any common artist would refer to sketches, the first sketch and the rough sketch. I would recommend to add another layer that would trace the rough sketch and, to look more clean and understand the actual anatomy. And some of you guys probably wondering that it's probably not efficient to do that, or like there are tons of images that you can, take reference of. Well, you're essentially drawing 2 sketches and anatomy on top of that, which is very good. And that would leave you 2 other layers, which are the tracing over the actual rough sketch and line art to make some progress in your artwork. With that technique in mind, you can get more progress and more understanding of the fundamentals of art. Well, for this one, let's say you have just one big red dot on the actual artwork and you want to get rid of it. So you just try to every single layer, just trying to, erase the dot. And like after 10 years, you just find the layer and you can clean it up. Well, this whole stress and anxiety can actually be just fixed by folders, especially if you have this much layers to work. Moreover, you can group layers with colors as categories, so your artwork can look as clean as this fish. This fish. Anyway, next one. Gradient is a great tool to use, especially when changing directional lights and color themes. After creating a new layer, to demonstrate it, I'm gonna use the gradient tool with 4 of the base color of the hair of my character. Since I've already done it in my actual artwork, I'm just gonna put the layer all the way on the top just to demonstrate it to you guys. Usually I would prefer putting the layer as an overlay layer when I want to use the gradient, and with the 4 base colors of the hair you can get, well, this. This allowed me to change the directional light of the character, of the hair of the character, however I like. Sometimes it's a little bit complicated to actually use the gradient tool because it has more than one direction. And as you can see, when I use the gradient tool the opposite way, it actually just matches up with the background. Let's say you're trying to borrow some knowledge by observing these beautiful artworks, like I usually do to Torino and Mica Picasso. And the first 2 things you need to focus on is the hair and the eyes. For example, let's say we have an artwork of Torino of Yo Mio. On the right side, we have my artwork while actually studying her art. What we notice first is similarity between the hairstyle, the shading, and similar eyes. Well, as you can tell, I'm obviously not the best at it, but you're here watching it, so we can improve all together. Very epic. If you ever checked out my YouTube channel, you can see lately that I've been posting some animations in the last couple months, and I've just been very far from uploading an anime domain video. So the most questions asked, or like the biggest question, well, will I be the same that I was when I go back to the anime domain, or like the anime drawing style? So obviously you're gonna get anxious for drawing like this, as I showed in the beginner steps. But as someone who did a bunch of animations, probably more than 100 animations, and each of them are like, I don't even know at this point, are like I think 100 frames each at least, I can confidently say that after all of these animations that it will benefit you no matter what. It will obviously enlarge your art vocabulary. At least it will give you more experience and add more progress in your art career. And if you made it to this part of the video, thanks.